La 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 la. Oh, hey there. How's it going? Well, now that I've got you here, why don't you hang around with me for a little while and let's see what this impressive piece of multifunctional home gym equipment can do.
What's up guys, Enkiri here, and I was recently given the opportunity to test and review a new piece of equipment from RitFit Sports, their upgraded M1 Smith Machine and Power Rack version 2.0. Earlier this year, I had the pleasure of reviewing the original 1.0 version of the M1 rack, which I was a pretty big fan of. The M1 rack is another one of those all-in-one, multifunctional home gym pieces. So a game changer for us home gym and garage gym enthusiasts. So it's got the Smith machine, the power rack, the dual pulley system, calisthenics station, and a landmine attachment as well, 5-in-1. I hit some big lifts on that original M1 rack, the best of which was this massive ATG Anderson front squat with 350 pounds, taint to paint, and I'm still shocked that I'm the only damn dude who is doing this lift, but I will stand up with 365 pounds in this same fashion, hopefully sometime in 2025, mark my freaking words. But the Smith machine on that original M1 rack was really nice, and the pulley system was really awesome as well. And now RitFit has upgraded that rack to the 2.0 version. So let's do a deep dive on the M1 2.0 and let's see what it's all about. And hey, if you like my content and you want to support my work, please remember to smash the like button before you go. Leave me a friendly comment down below as well. Also consider picking up a training program from my website, ENKIRIELITEFitness.com. I have over 65-star reviews on Google. You can check them out for yourself. And if you do, your gains will thank you. I hope you enjoy the video, and I hope you find the review helpful. Now, the first thing I want to note here is that this was probably the smoothest and easiest assembly process that I have ever undergone when it comes to one of these pieces of multifunctional training equipment. I've lost count of how many racks that I've assembled at this point, but it's quite a substantial number. I've done at least 4 just this past year, and this one was hands down the easiest. The entire process was super smooth. I broke it up into two 2-hour chunks, and I knocked the whole thing out on a Saturday so that I could start lifting on it the next day. The assembly manual was crystal clear, and literally the only snag that I hit was actually the very last step of the entire process, and that was actually getting the Smith machine bar lined up correctly with the brackets from the guideposts so that you could attach the bar onto the rack. It took me probably 10 or 15 minutes to figure out how to finagle the bar into the right position so that everything was lined up correctly and that I could latch the bar on. And once I got it in the right spot, it was super easy. And maybe I'm just dumb, that's seriously a good possibility, but it did take me a little bit longer than I'm proud of to get the bar in position so that I could attach it. Other than that though, it was a super smooth assembly, super easy, can't complain at all, and the rack looks really clean. So I opted for red, bright red this go around. It's sleek and it actually looks really cool. So I wrapped everything up with the assembly on Saturday evening, and then I went out the next day, Sunday, and I promptly hit this meme zombie front squat to pins using the safety squat bar, which SSB front squats are actually a brand new lift for me. I've just started tinkering with them. This lift here was literally only the second time that I've ever put the SSB on the front of my shoulders for a front squat, but I'm liking it so far. It's quite distinct from a regular front squat, and I have a few more thoughts that I kind of want to flesh out in some upcoming content about that lift in particular, so be on the lookout for that. The M1 2.0 rack is made of 14 gauge steel with a 2x2 frame, and in totality it is rated to hold over 1,800 pounds. In spite of that, the unit is actually pretty compact considering all the different things you can do with it. It sits at 79 inches long, 68 inches wide, and 86 inches high. I've got it sitting right in the middle of my gym floor, and it really doesn't feel like it's excessively bulky or like it's hogging up too much of the floor space. One thing that I want to note about this rack is that pretty much everything that attaches to it has a quick release system rather than actually necessarily being bolted onto the rack. So that includes the foot plate for rows, the landmine attachment, the band pegs, and even the weight plate storage tubes on the back side of the rack. You don't have to fiddle with any nuts or bolts or anything. You just slide them through the hole, give them a quick turn as you would with a safety arm or a J-hook, and then they're locked in place. And this feature is really nice because it means that you can add and remove attachments on a whim. If an attachment gets in the way of something that you want to do, no big deal. Just pop it off, and then you pop it right back on when you're done doing whatever you want to do. Another cool upgrade on this rack is, in addition to ample weight plate storage on the backside of the unit, they've also added a slot for barbell storage as well. So now you can store 3 bars vertically on the backside of the rack, which is very, very handy. In addition to my barbell mount that I built when I put my home gym together, I actually recently had to buy a dedicated barbell storage piece in order to house all my barbells without occupying half my home gym. So space-saving add-ons like this, like weight storage and barbell storage that just come standard with a multifunctional piece like this, are very helpful. They're a very helpful addition for home and garage gym owners, where space is likely going to come at a premium, and where we want to maximize our usable space with fun gym toys instead of having half our gym just be taken up by plates and bars that are strewn about all over the place. Now, I really like the Smith machine that RitFit makes. So I have used several home gym quality Smith machines at this point, as well as another handful or so over the years in different commercial gym settings. And the RitFit one is definitely my favorite as far as home gym Smith machines go. It just has a super smooth feel to it that makes it feel really nice during use and not super awkward or resistive in a bad way like some Smith machines have a tendency to feel, in my opinion. I mean, there's always going to be some level of awkwardness when using any Smith machine because the concept is simply not really congruent with the reality of how people naturally lift things in a perfectly vertical line. No, but I will save that particular tangent for another day. This Smith machine is really nice though. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Hip thrusts and behind the neck presses are basically the bread and butter for me when it comes to Smith machine usage, because those particular movements actually do lend themselves somewhat decently to a perfectly vertical bar path. And then the added stability that you get from the Smith unit boosts the SFR a little bit too. And I always end up tinkering with a few other movements as well, just to kind of see what I can come up with, see what feels good or potentially feels better on the Smith versus a free weight. Like I tried out this single leg deadlift here, and that wasn't bad. The stabilizing aspect from the Smith was really nice, but I so badly want to be able to just pull the bar back towards me on something like this, and I can't do it because it's locked on a fixed path. Anyway, it's a solid Smith setup. The bar capacity is a hefty 575 pounds, so if a good Smith machine is something that you are looking for in your home gym, you will enjoy the M1 2.0 for sure. Now, as far as the rack setup goes, it's nice and solid and stable, and you feel comfortable and secure working on it because of that. I do a lot of pin work in my workouts, both with squats and with different pressing movements, so I really appreciate the top protective layer that they have on the safety bars. It's some kind of really durable plastic, and it feels like it really blunts the impact against the pins when I'm setting the bar down, which makes deloading the bar just feel a little bit more gentle, which is nice. Both the safety pins and the J-hooks on this rack have a max weight capacity of 575 pounds, so that's pretty hefty overall. There are definitely some guys out there who are going to be too strong for a rack like that, and they'll need something a little bit more heavy duty than this with a higher overall weight tolerance. I'm not one of those guys, but they do exist. Personally, my only real complaint here in this particular regard is with the safety arms. So I know I mentioned this point in my review of the original M1 rack, where I was complaining that the safety arms were a little too short for my liking. But I think on that one they were about 1 foot long. And RitFit actually listened to my advice. They made them a little bit longer for this one, the upgraded 2.0 rack, but they still just aren't quite long enough for me yet. Maybe I'm picky. The current length on them is 400 millimeters, which is right about 16 inches long. That's definitely a nice improvement. But if we could get that up to at least 24 inches, 2 feet, then I would be ecstatic. as far as the calisthenics stations on the M1 2.0 go, I like the variety that the pull-up bar provides. You can go wide neutral on the outside there, which has a really nice feel to it. It's weak, but it has a really nice feel to it. It's not my strongest pulling grip by any stretch of the imagination, but I do really enjoy executing the pull-up pattern this way. Most neutral grip handles tend to be medium width or narrow width, so getting access to that wide neutral is a nice bonus, and it's a good way to get in smooth and easily recoverable volume work on your pull-ups. Now you can also go super wide with the pronated grip on the front of the bar there if you're feeling frisky. That grip is uber weak, but if you can get a few strict reps in like that, then you probably have a pretty strong pull, man. The bar also gives you access to a straight handle, so now you can go supinated or pronated and use whatever grip width that you want to use, anywhere between narrow and wide and every permutation in between. And lastly, there is a semi-supinated bar on there as well, which is always a really nice option to have. Those medium width semi-supinated airing towards neutral grip pulls, those tend to be the strongest way to execute pull-ups. So it's nice to have that option for when you want to move some big, impressive weights. And the pull-up bar itself has a max load capacity of 575 pounds, which is going to be way more than enough for 99.9% of people. Most people will never even clear 300 pounds of total system weight on a chin-up, so 575 is more than plenty. My personal best is 150 pounds external weight and 170 pounds body weight, so that's a total system weight of 320 pounds. Not even close to the max capacity there. My lifetime goal is to hit a 4-plate chin-up, which would be a total system weight of just 350 pounds. Again, not even close to the max capacity of the bar. So I will never have to worry about being too strong for this pull-up bar. My only real complaint with it is the lack of knurling on the bar. The grip is nice. It's an all-metal bar. It doesn't have any of those stupid rubber-coated handles that get all slippery and sweaty and spin around on the bar. I really dislike those. I usually just end up pulling them off anyway, but there's no knurl. So that smoothness on the metal can also get a little bit slippery if your hands get any sweat or moisture or anything like that on them at all. And a little bit of knurling just goes a really long way, man. It's kind of like the tread on the tires of a car. No tread is super grippy on a dry road, but incredibly slippery, incredibly dangerous on a wet road. So I would like to see a light knurl added onto this pull-up bar if possible. So the thing I really love about the dip setup here, and I mentioned this in my last review as well, is that the handles are adjustable by width. This is something that is incredibly uncommon. In fact, the last time I reviewed their rack, that was the first time that I had ever seen a setup like this. Instead of attaching to the vertical uprights, like pretty much every other dip handle attachment in existence, RitFit got a little bit more creative. They came up with a design where the handle's attached to the horizontal support post on the back side of the unit. Now, the cool thing about this is that this means we can adjust the width of the dip handles to whatever we choose for them to be or whatever we feel like doing that day. If you want to go narrow, you can go narrow. If you want to go medium, you can go medium. And if you want to go wide, you can go wide. Now, the drawback to this is that now the height of the dip handles is fixed. So when the handle's attached to a vertical upright, you can make them however high or low that you want them to be. You can't adjust the width, but you can adjust the height. But in this case, since the handle's attached to a horizontal post, now you can adjust the width, but now you have no say in how high that they sit off the ground. They simply sit as high as the horizontal post already is. The big problem with this is that the horizontal post that's on the M1 2.0 is actually quite low to the ground. So I personally like dipping with straight legs, but I can't do that with the dip handles here at this height, as my legs simply hit the ground if I try to do that. So now I have to bend my knees instead, which isn't my favorite thing to do when I'm doing dips. Further, the plates on my dip belt actually run into the ground from this height as well, which means that I can't load this movement with a dipping belt on this particular rack. Unfortunately, this makes the dip setup a little bit less than ideal for somebody like me, somebody who can move a pretty decent bit of weight with dips and wants and craves additional weight when I'm performing dips. So I would need access to a higher set of handles though in order to be able to make the most of my dip work on this rack. Now, it still works really well for inverted rows, where I'm on the underside of the rack, and you can tinker with the handle width there. So now you can do wide grip inverted rows, medium grip inverted rows, or narrow grip inverted rows. I got in some really awesome one-arm inverted rows the other day. It felt amazing. So that's still something that's a plus there. There's not actually too much to say about the pulley system on the M1 2.0 other than it is pretty much perfect. The pulleys on this rack have been upgraded from plastic, which is what they were on the 1.0 version, to aluminum now on the 2.0 version. So that looks really, really sharp, really, really sleek, and that aluminum is going to be far more durable overall. The pulley system has a 420-pound weight capacity per side with a 2:1 cable pulley ratio. Both pulleys are adjustable from floor height all the way up to the top of the rack, and the pulleys are super smooth during use, man. Rows feel absolutely amazing, especially with the mag grip style handles that RitFit sent me a few months ago. Hip flexion feels really strong and clean for me. I got a sick pump from some push downs on it for my triceps. I did some cable French presses last night. My triceps are freaking sore right now from that. But you can do literally any cable exercise you can think of or rig up here on this rack, and it will feel amazing and solid and strong and smooth as well. So the M1 2.0 rack by RitFit Sports is pretty freaking cool, man. It's clean and sleek. It looks really aesthetic in my garage gym. The unit is really solid and stable during use. It's compact overall, and the footprint is pretty minimal, actually, considering the 5-in-1 nature of the rack. The dual pulley system with upgraded aluminum is pretty much perfect. The Smith machine is very well engineered, and the pull-up station is awesome as well. There are a couple points of improvement that could stand to be made on future models, namely in regard to the height of the dip handles, the length of the safety arms, and the lack of knurl on the pull-up bar. But overall, there is a heck of a lot of good here. I really like the rack overall. I've been enjoying it, and I really appreciate the multifunctional nature of the rack that allows you to seamlessly transition between different types of movements and training modalities. Like I've been saying, man, these racks, these multifunctional ones that weren't available all that long ago, really are a game changer for home and garage gym owners. It basically allows us to train like we still have a gym membership, and all things considered, they're pretty economically priced as well, considering all the different functionalities that you get just from this single piece of equipment. Overall, I'm really happy with the RitFit M1 2.0 all-in-one home gym. I'm giving it 4 out of 5 stars. I will bump that to 4.5 if they get that dip handle issue fixed, and then if they get the knurling issue on the pull-up bar and the safety arm sorted out, I will bump it up to a 5 out of 5. But this one is well designed, it's sleek, it's heavy duty, and the Smith and the pulley systems are both great. You'll be able to get in some really good work on it, and it won't break the bank. So if you're in the market for a new quality power rack or Smith machine, or you're just looking for an all-in-one piece of multifunctional equipment that reduces your overall home gym footprint, then be sure to check out RitFit Sports. You can find a link to their website in the description below, and discount code RFENKIRI will get you 12% off of all RitFit Sports products. That's all I got for today, guys. I hope you found this review helpful. Please be sure to smash the like button before you go. Leave me some love in the comments down below. Check out ENKIRIELITEFitness.com for all coaching and training programs. And as always, keep training hard. I will catch you guys next time.